What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel with your host, myself, Nando. Jacoby will be joining me in just a few minutes, man. And we have a lot to touch on today. Man, it's been a hell of a week since the last time we spoke, man. It's been crazy. I mean, I was on this channel, you know, hyping up the Miami Dolphins, and I thought they were actually gonna go to play the Buffalo Bills, and I thought things were gonna be different. I really did. I really thought things were gonna be different. I thought McDaniel had seen enough of, everything that McDermott and Josh Allen has thrown at them. I thought this was the time. I thought this is for sure gonna be the time where the Miami Dolphins are ready to, answer the door and beat the Buffalo Bills and finally, take a turn in the right direction. I thought this was the year, and I've said this so many different times, and I just keep falling for it, where I really thought this was it. I thought this was going to be the time. And boy, how quick did that go? I mean, that went left, far left, really quick. I mean, Tua had probably the worst game I've seen in his career. To be honest with you, some of the picks were just boneheaded. I mean, the first one you can excuse, but the second and third, you're not getting a pass. And talk about probably the worst interception I've seen in his career. Well, that final pick six, and then, you know, um, what happened that after that. But let's welcome in Jacoby onto the stream. Jacoby, how's it going, my man?
Is this hell? I feel like this is hell, man.
Listen, man,
dude, not even just with the Dolphins, man. That was the worst week of football I have ever endured as a football fan, man. From fantasy to the Dolphins to Tua's injury. Holy shit, dude. Do I have a lot to talk about today?
No, man. Listen, we're gonna have to pace ourselves because I was just telling the audience here that what a crazy turn of events. I mean, last week we're out here, 1-0, feeling, you were still saying that, the Dolphins are not ready. They're going to lose. I was saying, hey, the Dolphins are going to turn the corner. And, worst comes to worst, we get our asses kicked and we're 1-1. But I mean, that was a little bit worse than just getting our asses kicked. I mean, our quarterback goes down with a concussion. I mean, you can't make some of this stuff up. Not only did we lose, I mean, he looked bad, played probably his worst game, threw picks that were just ridiculous. The offense, it was just a pure embarrassment. And then just to top it all off, the damn concussion happens. And I mean, let's start off there because I feel like that's the most important part. So obviously, the breaking news today was reported by Adam Schefter. You sent me this earlier. Dolphins are placing quarterback Tua Tagovailoa on injury reserve per source. He will now be out for a minimum of 4 games. Obviously could be more than that. I want to get your thoughts on that, man. Tua and the concussion and injury reserve. Where do you stand? And I want you to be brutally honest here. Be brutally honest about what your take is on Tua, the concussion. Where do you stand? You have the floor.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is pretty much the absolute worst case scenario for Miami, in my opinion, in the sense of, getting Tua back because I've stood firm from the last episode of last season to every episode we've done this season that in my honest opinion, this is this team's final shot to do something. And you lose your quarterback for a minimum of 4 games. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be just 4 games. I think it's going to be more. And this is the easiest stretch of the season. If you can't win 3 of these next 4 games, you might as well pack it up or blow it up at the deadline because you look at that ending stretch at the end of the season, it's going to be brutal. And the thing that most concerns me is how Tua played before the injury. This is what I've been worried about since giving him that contract, man. It's pretty devastating. I mean, everything that could have went wrong last week went wrong. And now this team's going to be fighting for their lives the next 4 weeks. Who knows? They might come out and surprise us. But this is terrible. And I'm not, and a lot of fans, I've been pretty vocal if you follow me on Twitter. But, if you got to miss half a fucking season for a concussion, you shouldn't be playing. Like all these guys that get concussions, they're out for a week, maybe half a week and a half. This is not good. This is a disaster. And you may be saying, oh, he's panicking. How can I not panic? A lot of guys out there like, oh, he's our franchise quarterback, he's not retiring, he'll be back at some point of the season. I'm like, okay, well then you look beyond next season when we can't afford to sign a lot of our core pieces again, and we got to be facing with more tough decisions. You'll see. But if I'm Tua, I don't even want to come back to that O-line either. So that's how I feel, man. I'm all over the place right now. It's been a whirlwind of a few days, but it is devastating what happened to him. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I'm not going to act like I don't feel for him. I feel freaking terrible, but at the same time, I'm done waiting. I'm done being patient with this team. I'm done. Like, you got to win now. So I'm up here in terms of rage, man.
No, but the thing is, see, I like where you're going with this, right? And I totally get it. I get the frustration, but I mean, we knew that this comes with Tua based on his history, man. We knew that at any point in line with this O-line that, the concussions are not just something that we're just going to put it behind us. I mean, there's always that risk. So then my thing is, if you think he should just retire, I feel like we don't have any other options. Now you can talk about next year, but I feel like if you're thinking about this year, I mean, I think we can't pick and choose our battles, right? Like we have to be able to, think about it long term, man, like Tua gives us the best chance to win anything this year. Like, wouldn't you agree with that? I mean, there's no other option for this year. I mean, we could talk about next year and things like that, but like this year, let's say he misses 7, right? How do you feel if he misses 7? I mean, I feel like we need to have him under center.
I mean, does he though? Does he give us the best chance to win? I mean, like, I think this team has severe issues other than Tua. I mean, that's the way. I mean, the way I'm seeing it, even with Tua 100% healthy, after seeing how they played before he got hurt against Buffalo, I'm like, oh shit. Like, unless this team makes some dramatic changes on that O-line or something else, I don't want to transition into how I really felt about that game just yet. I want to stay on Tua for a sec, but this team has some severe problems that it's not just missing Tua. So, I mean, if I don't have the answers. I can't. I'm not the ones behind the scenes making the decisions. But if you're to tell me that this team's not even a playoff team with Tua healthy, shit, you got to make a severe decision. But I mean, this team is in shambles on offense with Tua right now, and that's very concerning.
That's for sure. I look at things a little bit different because. Well, me, I just like to look at it year by year because if I start thinking about down the line and next year and the contract being like, I'm not like that, to be honest. That's just gonna kill me. It's not good for my mental health, right? So, as far as this year, I'm just grateful that the man is not retiring, and the reason why I say that is because if you give me my team this year, I had expectations before this Buffalo game. Now, I'm going to get into that. Like the Buffalo game did show me a lot of things about this Miami Dolphins team that kind of gave me a reality check. But I had expectations for this team, and the expectations is still early on in the season, so you can correct a lot of those things. Now, granted, your quarterback is going to miss a lot of games. That's going to do a lot of damage to you. But for the expectations that I have for this team, and the expectation that I have for this team is just to win a playoff game at least, because we haven't witnessed that in forever. It is with Tua under center, because I don't think any other quarterback that's available right now and it's realistic as an option will win us that playoff game. So I believe there's building blocks to this, but him getting a concussion, him going on injury reserves tells me a lot of things. It tells me honestly that I can't rely on this quarterback. I can't, like, I really can't. And I love the guy. I've been on the show. I love Tua. I think he's progressed every single year. I've seen the upside, but I just don't trust him. I can't rely on him. I don't trust him protecting himself. He could have slid to prevent that. He could have thrown the ball away in the past. He could have done so many different things where it's like he thinks he's somebody that he's not. And I truthfully do not trust Tua long term. But I'm going about it, year by year basis. What I would do, let's say if we can't get somebody that's better than Tua, which I doubt, because like I said, man, the NFL, people are saying get rid of Tua and get what? I mean, you only got like 9 good quarterbacks in the NFL. The quarterbacks in the NFL are not that damn good. Like, look at all the quarterbacks starting for NFL teams. This is not like it was in the past. These quarterbacks are mid and sus besides like 8 or 9 guys. And the 8 or 9 guys that are above Tua, you're not going to get them. So I would try to, if you're going to draft, I would like to draft in the offseason, have a guy kind of learn the system like it used to be in the old days, get him like a year or 2, and then start that rebuild later. Because honestly, like this shows me I can't rely on Tua long term. So I'm with not necessarily moving on right away, but we need to start drafting a guy and getting a guy to learn McDaniel's system and kind of like being ready to take over. Let's say something happens to Tua, young guy gets his opportunity. And hey, if he's better than Tua, then he's better than Tua. But to be honest, man, that's just how I feel about this whole situation. But as far as this year, I'm glad he's not retiring because I think that this team is capable of staying afloat until Tua gets back and at least win a damn playoff game. Start the building blocks of, this new core that we're sticking to with Mike McDaniel. That's what I want to see. That was my expectations. I want to see a playoff win. And that happens with Tua, nobody else, to be honest with you. That's how I feel. I don't know how you feel about that, Jacob.
I mean, I don't think you're unjustified for thinking that. I mean, you know how I feel about Tua. You know how I felt about Tua for 2 years. And what I saw on Thursday before the concussion was just proving my fears. So I don't want to sit up here and say, "Oh, I told you so. I'm so glad I'm right." No. It's my fears are coming to life and it makes me worried because, the reason why I am so built up about long-term is just like, I want this team to be good long-term. I want a long-term team that's going to last in this league, a team that can afford to take losses, like in the sense of, okay, they lose a few pieces. No big deal. We can still be competitive. We have not seen that. So like, to me, it's just the end of the world right now, I would say. And I'm not even afraid to admit that because this team is just, it has a lot of holes everywhere. They've regressed every year under Mike McDaniel in the sense of, like they've lost some key players, but they've gained some in the run. But, the players that they've decided to pay are not even showing up. And, that's not just, I'm not going to say that's too, but like Ramsey's been getting cooked. Everyone on the line that they brought in, they've been getting their asses kicked. Jordan Brooks really hasn't been that guy we thought he was going to be, but I know it's 2 weeks, but we put a lot of money into this team, this season. Yeah, they need to salvage it in some way. So
yeah,
but I am with you on like, I'm glad he's not retiring. I love the guy. I am concerned that he's not retiring because I don't want his life after football to be fucking miserable. So it's definitely the Dolphins are between a rock and a hard place. But we're gonna see. Skylar Thompson might come out and shock us, but after this show, I told myself I'm just moving on to Seattle. Gonna put everything in the rear end. But I definitely needed to rant a lot from this past weekend for sure.
No, definitely, and I had to too. This is why we spent, we're heading into minute 15 here on this topic because it's a lot of venting from both of us. And honestly, bro, as cold-hearted as this might sound, man, I don't feel bad for Tua because, bro, you've had opportunities to help yourself, right? And you had an opportunity to go ahead and retire, to listen to your family, to do this. But if you're going to go ahead and say you're not going to retire and you want to continue trying to be the Hulk, bro, then I don't feel bad for you and I'm fucking sorry. But I don't feel bad for you at all. So at this point, I feel like, I don't feel guilty as a fan. I'm a root for Tua. Like, you better get us a freaking, a playoff win and do whatever the hell you got to do. I'm not playing no more soft shit with Tua after this. That's for sure, bro.
Well, if you don't mind, I want to bring you the most frustrating point from last week.
Yeah.
That, you may think that Tua was the rock bottom part of last week, but I got a quote from you or for you that I want to share. This was Mike McDaniel, his press media availability last week or yesterday. And it was from Omar Kelly. The question was, why wasn't Tyreek and Waddle more involved in Miami's passing game versus the Bills? And Mike McDaniel's explanation was teams will do something until you make the play for it. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's terrible.
We are in year 3 and you're straight up telling me you don't have an answer. This is probably talent-wise, this is the best team you've had. And you're telling me that you didn't have an answer for a Bills team that is worse than it ever was in your tenure as head coach? How the hell do you not have? How the hell are you in year 3 and you are still unable to make adjustments against these good, competent coaches?
That
right there got into contract extension. That's what I'm most frustrated about. That infuriated me, Nando. I was so pissed off when I read that tweet.
That's just embarrassing. I mean, where's the? I mean, at this point, you should be a head coach that just got an extension to have some answers, and that's just embarrassing. That's just another thing on the Mike McDaniel little hate list that we have, man. But talk about that Buffalo game, man. Obviously, a terrible, brutal loss. Let's talk about what did that loss tell you about this Miami Dolphins team?
It really told me that, this team continues to have that, that ability to step up on prime time, and like that ability to play in the big moments. That game started first drive, Dolphins football. Tua was talking pregame. Oh, we got to beat him. Like there's no ifs and ands about it. We got to come in focused. Got to beat him. Throws an interception. Granted, that first interception wasn't his fault. He threw it right to the receiver's hands or shoulder. It was right there. Couldn't get it. It is what it is. But what it also told me is that I think Buffalo is a 10 times better coach team than Miami. They were crippled. They have lost some talent. Josh Allen didn't even have to break 150 yards. That team came out on fire on the defensive end. They had the perfect game plan. They were playing like they were hungry. They were throwing hits. They were attacking that O-line. They were attacking every weak link in Miami, and they didn't look back. If you want me to sum it up, what that game taught me is that Buffalo is leaps and bounds ahead of Miami right now. That's what it taught me.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to second that, man. What that loss told me, and I was a guy that obviously was, unlike you, I predicted a win. I had an optimistic approach to this game, thinking that the Dolphins were really going to just, turn the tide against Buffalo. And it's as simple as this. That loss told me that the Miami Dolphins are not a Super Bowl contender. It's flat out simple. And I know plenty of people might say, oh, damn, you're going to be so negative. It's so early on. No, man. No. You don't. If you think a Super Bowl contender is going to go get their ass beat in week 2 to their rival that took the division away the year before and swept them the year before at home, when you got all your dogs there, like Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Phillips, you got Waddle, you got Tua, you got more than enough. You got Ramsey, you got more than enough to go ahead and show the hell up, and for you to just play just an awful game. And, we're not even talking concussion. Like, Tua played absolutely terrible. It shows me that Tua's not ready for the big time games. It shows me that Tua's not ready to be a playoff winner, let alone a Super Bowl contender. And I was thinking that we were like Super Bowl contenders. When you look at the roster on paper and you look at how Tua performed last year, being number 1 in the league, this loss showed me that the Dolphins are not ready to be a Super Bowl contender. Are they a playoff contender? Yeah, you can argue that. Are they capable of a playoff win? You could argue that. Probably not, but you could argue it. And, I would probably say, I might say, yeah, depending on how they look towards the end of the season. But as far as Super Bowl contender, yes, it's early, and I'm not overthinking it, bro. Like, it's just, that shows me you're not ready for no AFC championship. You're ready for one win, and that's it. Like, that's it. You can't look like that. And you gave me there was nothing positive besides what? Achane? That's it?
Keep in mind, this same team, front office, executives, everything, less than 8 months ago, watched Josh Allen take a victory lap around your stadium when he stole the division from you. And they said, we're going to run it back with a worse roster on the O-line in terms. And, it's probably not as good as a roster as it was last year, but they said the same issues that got us last year, Let's not improve.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Mike McDaniel or if I'm a player on the Dolphins, I'm pissed the fuck off after that game. I remember as a fan just watching Josh Allen just run all over our field, hyping up the Bills crowd, and I was just sitting there with fuming rage, man. I don't think our players have that same fire, but that's just me, and I find it disrespectful as a fan. So that's just.
And you know what's crazy? thinking about it, last show I said, man, remember I said, I'm like, yo, the Bills punk us. I said, I want to see us play with some damn dog, bro. Like, yo, be tough. Like, that's your place, yo. Make Hard Rock Stadium a tough place to play. And no, you the same thing. Like, they literally punked you guys. The fans were crazy over there in Bills Mafia. They were hyping up their crowd. It's a pure just embarrassing feeling as a fan. And you're right. This comment from Giannis, you guys should probably draft Beck. I'm not really high on Beck, but I am, like I said earlier, and thanks for chiming in. I am all in on the Dolphins drafting a quarterback and, letting him, learn McDaniel's system slowly. I think there's true value in a quarterback getting drafted and kind of sitting out that first year and kind of learning a system and everything. I think that's a lost part in today's game. You see guys like freaking Bryce Young just getting out there set up to fail. I really think that there's value sitting behind a guy that's been there for a couple years and you're learning the system, and then you get brought in, whether it's year 2 or year 3. That's a lost art in today's game. So I'm exactly. Love that. And I'm all for that. I think the NFL needs to get back to that. And I think that's going to be, hopefully something that the Dolphins could do to have sustained success in the future. And thanks for chiming in. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys in the comments. Jacoby, Tyler Huntley was signed. How do you feel about that move? It's a guy that the Dolphins were targeting. We're thinking about trading earlier in the offseason. Now they pretty much get him for free from the Ravens practice squad. He's a former Pro Bowler, which shocked the hell out of me. I kind of forgot about that. How do you feel about Tyler Huntley, man?
Dude, I didn't like. I looked at his stat. I'm like, oh, he was a Pro Bowler, and I go look at his stats. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I saw he had like 8 touchdowns that season. I don't know. I was like, I guess Pro Bowling. I guess the Pro Bowl title is slightly out there, but they said they were going to bring in depth. It wasn't the choice I wanted them to go with, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him under center either for the Titans or the Patriots game. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he'll be in there sooner than they think. They could say they're committed to Skyler all they want, but I think they're going to get a rude awakening in Seattle this week, especially in probably like a top 3 loudest stadium in the NFL. So we're gonna see for sure. I was not upset with the draft. I think he's a better backup than Skyler. So that's just my opinion, but I was pleased with the signing. I think that's good depth, and we'll see. But like I anticipate him to be in there in a couple weeks.
Yeah, no, I definitely do think so too. If he's the full-time starter or if he gets implemented in some way, somehow, I definitely think Mike McDaniel, has a couple tricks up his sleeve with a mobile quarterback like Huntley. I think you can do a lot of different things with him. He's shown that he can win in this league. He's backed up Lamar Jackson. He's had success in the league. He's played in a playoff game before, so he has that experience. He knows he's been, Harbaugh's a pretty solid coach, so he's been in the facing some good teams. And I think there's value in having a guy like Huntley, man. At some point, I didn't want to see the Dolphins just not get anybody. So the fact that they're at least trying to stay afloat, which you mentioned, like, these games where 2 has to be out, you have to win. Would you say 3 out of 4 at least, you're saying?
I think they have to win 3 out of, even winning 2 out of 4, I think will still be tough on them. Cause like, dude, that ending stretch just scares the crap out of me, man. And, you got Seahawks, Titans, Patriots, Colts, Cardinals looking like a little bit of a powerhouse there. So I'm not too sure about that game right now. I don't want to look too far in because Tua might be back for that game. But I mean, you realistically look at the stretch, they got to sweep this stretch. But I mean, I don't see them sweeping it anymore. But I think you got to win 3. I mean, you have to go 3-1 in this stretch, in my opinion.
And that's something that you could probably say they could. With Tua, they could go 4-0, but I still think even without Tua that this team can win even with just mediocre quarterback play against these upcoming 4 teams. So I think you're spot on. I think 3-1 over the next 4 is definitely doable, and it's something that they need to do if they want to have a realistic chance. Because down the stretch, I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, you got Green Bay at Lambeau, you got the Jets, you got the Texans in Houston, you got San Fran, you got the Cleveland Browns defense, which I feel like is going to be a nightmare for Tua
in Cleveland too.
In Cleveland on prime time, and then you're potentially playing for a playoff spot with the New York Jets on the road against a defense that is very, very physical. Very
and you'll
physical.
Be at that game.
Yeah, we'll see who's at quarterback. one step at a time.
If I have to go watch Skylar Thompson this week, you better freaking go to that game regardless.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jacoby bought tickets to watch the Seahawks Dolphins game in the offseason, and he was excited for this game this Sunday, and now he's going there to watch Skylar Thompson. So just pray for my guy Jacoby, man.
Hey, a funny story. 2 years ago, I bought tickets to a Miami Dolphins game in Miami. 2 weeks before, Tua had his severe concussion on Thursday Night Football and did not play. Dolphins did not win. Same exact shit happened this season. On Thursday Night Football, Tua sustains a severe concussion and he's not playing in the game I'm going to.
That's right.
You can't make that shit up, dude.
I totally forgot about that. It was the Vikings game you went to, right?
Yes, the Vikings game. Saw Teddy Bridgewater shit the bed, dude.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, man. Damn it. But let's move on, man. Skylar Thompson is going to be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins this Sunday, taking on the Seattle Seahawks, where Jacoby will be in attendance. This game's in Seattle. I mean, one of the toughest places to play, like Jacoby mentioned earlier. The 12th man is a serious thing. Jacoby, what do you think about the Seattle Seahawks, DK Metcalf, Geno, the new coaching staff, and how do you feel about the Seahawks heading in?
Yeah, I think the new coaching staff is doing a really good job over there. You know, they played a really ugly game in week 1, and I think they played a very efficient game in week 2 against the Patriots. They were dominating the run and the short pass game, which I think Miami needs to follow suit, especially if you get Raheem Mostert back this week. I think that's going to put you in the best chance to win. I don't think you're going to win with deep passes or anything like that. So I'm really impressed with Seattle. I didn't have them starting 2-0 for sure, and I think that crowd's going to be pumped the fuck up. I do know a lot of Dolphins fans are going to be in attendance, so I hope we can even out the crowd a little bit. But we're going to see. I'm excited for it regardless. Lumen Field's been on my bucket list, so I'm excited. It's going to be a good game.
What impresses you the most about the Seattle Seahawks starting off 2-0 this season?
I gotta say, pretty much their defense, dude. I mean, that's because Mike McDonald, dude. You see what he's bringing to the defense, and what Baltimore is missing, because he was with Baltimore for a long time.
Yep.
Baltimore, you could tell, is definitely missing him, and Seattle's playing with some absolute ferocity, man. And they lost some key players last year, and they're definitely showing out that against a tough Patriots team too, in terms on defense. They were utilizing everything on both ends of the ball. So I'm just excited because it's a young team. It's a very young team, and but except for Geno, you got a veteran at quarterback, which could be helpful with a young team. So you gotta love the way they're playing. The vibes are good. They're playing with some style, and they're gonna be. I think they're going to come in hungry. I don't think they're going to take this team lightly either. And I think that's the energy and the standard that Mike McDonald's bringing in over there. So that's what most impresses me for sure. And we'll see, because I wasn't a fan of that signing. I thought they should have signed Vrabel. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think they're going to make some noise in the NFC for sure.
No, yeah, I think so too, man. Especially, I mean, starting off 2-0 is no joke. I like their coaching staff. I think they're going to make tremendous leaps, and you're already seeing it on defense. Pete Carroll couldn't figure out the defense there, and then the offense also is supposed to take a step up. Obviously, they have issues with the offensive line, but they have some talent out there, and I don't think that the Seahawks are a pushover. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. They might sneak their ways into the playoffs, and obviously, starting 2-0. It is big time, man. So Skylar Thompson obviously going to be the starting quarterback in this matchup, man. What are your keys to victory, man? Do you got 3 for me?
Yeah, I do got 3 for you, shockingly, but I did have to think about it a lot. My guy who I'm going to the game with, he's a big Seahawks fan, so we've been kind of debating, what's going to stand out, what's going to, what to expect from his team. But I think you got to dominate the run game from the start. Seattle's O-line is up there with Miami's in terms of one of the worst lines in the league, according to multiple sources and stats. I think you got to dominate that run game right away. Get Achane going. If you got Mostert back, just put him and Wright in. Wilson, mix them all in. You got to just dominate this run game from the start. And my second one, man, is like they gotta come up with some sort of communications to battle the crowd noise. They got to take the crowd out of the game, because if you get Lumen Field in, you allow them to get in that game, I think there's going to be several false starts, several penalties, several communication issues. So that's my second one. Get the fucking crowd out of the game. Make some big plays on defense. Because if you're telling me the Dolphins defense is the issue, you're crazy. Because I think the Dolphins defense has been just fine. The offense is just a mess. And Skyler is my third key of the game. I'm going to get to you in just a second. But Skyler, we're not asking you to make huge plays. We're not asking you to play like Josh Allen. We're not asking you to play like Patrick Mahomes. Just manage the game. Come in calm, come in collective, just manage the game. That's all we need from Skyler. If he can hit, he can hit the short passes. That's where he's capable of. So McDaniel needs to put him in place. If he manages the game well, Miami will be in a good spot to win this game.
All right, I love that. I love those keys. I'm definitely the first key. I'm with you, man. The run game and establish the run game early. I mean, the New England Patriots had 185 rushing yards against the Seahawks last week. That's the New England Patriots we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, the Patriots have a pretty bad team, and the offensive line, it ain't that good. You had Antonio Gibson rush for 96 yards on 11 carries. You had Ramondre Stevenson with 81 yards. Jeez. I mean, listen, we got guys way better than those two with Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, and if Raheem Mostert plays, adding him to the mix. You have a dynamic running back, trio right there that you can really establish the game, play that old style type of football, right? Understand where your quarterback has his limitations. So rely on that run game a little more, mix it up with those three backs, have a couple checkdowns in there. We saw Devon Achane have, one of the best games of his career. You can't say the best game because the Denver performance was ridiculous last year. Yeah. So, but the fact that he was able to, show flashes of how he can catch out of the backfield and how dynamic of a player he is, I think he's in store for probably the biggest game of the Miami Dolphins. And I'm with you on Skyler. Key number 2, Skyler, do not overdo it. Understand your limitations. Go out there and get a win. So definitely Skyler just playing not too cautious, but just manage the game, bro. I just need you to manage the game. All right. Take advantage of clock management in this situation. Understand that you're not a great quarterback. Just kill the clock, run the ball. I'm with those. And then number 3 is they got to be ready for DK Metcalf. I mean,
contain DK, man.
Contain him the best you can, because listen, that guy JSN over there is a damn problem, bro. Over 100 yards receiving last week against the New England Patriots. He had 12 catches. I mean, the dude was on fire. Geno threw for like over 300 yards. I think JSN is going to ball, but there's nobody that really, really just gets that crowd going than DK Metcalf. And I think Jalen Ramsey, obviously now he's following people around. He's doing what Fangio wasn't allowing him to do. Jalen Ramsey needs to step the hell up. I've seen him get cooked a couple times already this season, and I'm not liking it. He's got a challenge in week 3 on the road. He's the leader of this defense. He talks, all that shit about, all the speeches. Listen, go shut down your matchup, set the tone defensively. That way, contain DK the best you can. And I think Jalen Ramsey has a huge opportunity. If there's anybody that you look for leadership, it's him. And I think if he sets the tone, it can really just, it's like infectious, bro. I think the rest of the team, it's contagious where everybody's just going to start to ball, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I think the Dolphins, even with Skylar Thompson, can win this game against Seattle. But I'm going to throw it out to you for you to give me your prediction.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a slow-paced game in the first half, to be honest with you. I'm going to still side with the boys because You know, this is the time. This is the time to step up and show everyone that, this isn't a one-dimensional team. They're not relying on one person. This is the time. Everyone's doubting you right now. Nobody's picking you. It's the world against you. I'm going to side with my boys. I'm going to be there. I know hella Fins fans are going to be there. I'm going to side with them. I'm going to give them the win, 17-14.
Okay, I like it.
A low-scoring game.
I was not expecting you to say that, to be honest.
Yep. I'm gonna stick with them.
I was not. I thought you were gonna be like, after all the tweets and all the negativity, bro. I thought you were just gonna say, "Nah, man, I'm sick of this."
No, I don't want to convince myself that Mike McDaniel is gonna force Skylar to make these big plays and be as flashy as possible. Like, I'm going to hopefully trust he takes the common sense route and just play to his style and run the damn ball. That's what New England did. That's what they got the success. So I got faith, and I think our defense has a really good game. Like I said, if Skylar can follow my key in managing the game, the defense isn't going to be so tired. I got faith. I think we can pull this one out.
I'm with Zell says 27-7 Hawks, man. Damn.
Oh, I'd be so pissed, dude. I spent so much money on this trip.
Listen, man. The Seahawks are the favorite by 5.5 points. That is obviously, insane. That shows you, I guess, how much the sports books value Tua. Because if Tua was playing, that would not be like that. But damn.
Well, that's kind of crazy. We opened up as 1-point favorites on Sunday, so I can't believe that shift.
It shifted. Nando says 31-10 Seahawks. Listen, man, I am going to ride with my boys yet again. I just think, and this is full on the truth, man. I just think even with Skylar Thompson under center, I think we're a better football team than Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks, even though they're 2-0, I mean, they were kind of a little shaky against Denver in the first half there. Then they got things going. The Patriots as well almost got them. I mean, it took a lot for the Seattle Seahawks to beat the New England Patriots. So they're not two convincing wins, but they're 2 wins that they got nonetheless. And I give them credit. They're 2-0. But I think they've been flirting with a loss. I think they're due for a loss. And I think this is where the loss comes. I don't think a Seattle Seahawks team that struggled to get 2 wins is just going to start the season 3-0. I think this Dolphins team has the experience to just get this job done. I think they know the task at hand. I think they know the limitations with Skylar. And I have full faith that the Dolphins are going to have a hell of a game defensively. They're going to attack Geno Smith, make it hard for Geno Smith. And I'm picking the Dolphins to win this game solely because of their defense. I think their defense has enough to kind of like shake this game up and kind of take advantage and make the key plays at the end. And hopefully McDaniel just runs the ball, man, and just kind of really implements those 3 running backs. Score, I'll say 17. I'll say 17-14, 3-point win for the Dolphins. And for you going to the game, I hope they get it done as well.
I mean, for all those times we yell at McDaniel for running the screen passes, for running these, like pitching the ball behind, running all these dumb plays. I mean, now's the time to do it. So,
definitely. Yeah. This is when you get creative like that.
Yeah. And, they have a horrible O-line. I really hope our pass rush gets to Geno, disrupts the offense a little bit. I think this is the best pass rush they've seen so far. So I'm just going in with some blind hope and some confidence. I just really, really pray that this team just responds to the tough week they had. The vibes seem to be good. So I hope this team just comes out ready. It's because you gotta just, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a lot of dinking and dunking. Listen, I'm with it. Whatever it takes to get the Dolphins to win this damn game and Skylar Thompson to just survive, do what you got to do. You got Devon A-Chain. That'll help out a lot of fantasy owners out there. Jacoby, I gotta ask you this. So you could kind of say I threw out my X factor as Jalen Ramsey, right? Let's say if you had an X factor, who do you think will be the difference maker of why the Dolphins come out on top in your opinion? Is it A-Chain?
I mean, no, because I think, as long as A-Chan is put in position in these plays, in this play calling, he's going to take it every time. He's failed to really let us down. When McDaniel puts him as a point of focus, he excels. So I think as long as you do what you're supposed to do, A-Chan's going to be fine. But I'm going to go back to what you say, dude. I think Jalen Ramsey is a big X factor, dude.
Absolutely.
He has had a rough start to the season. I mean, if he's out there playing, he's obviously not that hurt. And you just got extended. And this team needs a leader more than ever right now. This is your time to shine. You can come up with you can go freaking play a Fred Warner game we just saw. Like, go and just completely dominate. Lead this team on the defensive end. I think you nailed it right there. I think Jalen Ramsey needs to be the X factor this week.
Love it. Love it. All right. So both of us have the Miami Dolphins hopefully picking up a W in Seattle, where Jacoby will be in attendance. So let's just hope my guy is, celebrating a Dolphins win, man. Jacoby deserves it. He's been through some shit, man.
Yeah, man.
You've been through some shit, man.
Yeah.
Although you did see a very great game last year, week 1 in LA.
Dude, I would kill to go back to that year, dude. Those first 3 games of last season were the highest I've ever been as a Fins fan, dude. I would kill to relive those days.
Oh man, hopefully we can feel something similar to that soon, man. But let's go right into the fantasy football segment. So I know you had a very devastating week when it comes to not only the Dolphins but fantasy. So talk to us. Let us know your updates before you go with your stardoms and situms.
Here, I'll let you guys put it all together. In my fantasy league, I have AJ Brown, I have Cooper Kupp, I have Joe Mixon, I have Jordan Love, I have Nick Chubb. I'll let you guys put all that together. Also, I'll tell you that's how my week went. Okay.
It's a lot of insurance there.
Okay, but thankfully, I still won in our league by 0.4. That Saquon drop would have lost me the game. And dude, it was hilarious. I was watching the game. I saw Hurts throw. I'm like, I just lost. And then I turned off the TV. I was like, that's it. And I didn't know he dropped it until I went and opened up the app. I'm like, how am I still winning? And I saw that he dropped it. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I won in our league by 0.4, but I have a whole fucking starting lineup on the IR, dude. It's insane. Cooper Kupp and AJ Brown are going to miss an extended period of time. Michael Pittman just fucking sucks for some reason. So Alan Lazard puts up 24 points. It gives me 3 points this week. So I'm in shambles right now. Thankfully, I'm 2-0. So maybe I can afford to lose 1 or 2 games. So, but dude, it's insane. I have like 6 starters injured, and it's just like, I don't understand. Like I texted you. I texted our group chat. I'm like, who put the fucking hitman on my freaking fantasy team? So,
dethrone the champ was the mission.
Dude, I guess whatever it takes, right? You got to kill my team.
But talk to us about your stardoms this week.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I'm gonna roll right in with the quarterbacks. I think these two. One of them's going to keep the hot hand, and one of them's going to get the bounce back. So for the first one, I'm going to go Joe Burrow. I think he's going to get the bounce back after a tough week in Kansas City. They're playing the Commanders, who are just terrible against the quarterbacks right now. They're allowing the most points. So I'm going to give Joe Burrow the start. And then right in the hot hand, how about those New Orleans Saints, man? I'm going to give Derek Carr my first ever stardom to Derek Carr. I think he's playing out of his mind right now. I think they're scheming up just perfect plays for him. He's had back-to-back 21-point performances, and they're playing an Eagles team who are getting the little experience of Vic Fangio right now. So I think Derek Carr is going to be in tune for another big game. So those are my 2 stardoms. Yeah. Going on to my situms, I'm going to give the first situm, because I'm going to be there, giving it to Geno Smith. You know what? I'm going to bring all the heat to him right now. And Miami's actually, believe it or not, Miami's actually 4th best defense against quarterbacks in fantasy right now. So I'm going to give Geno the situm this week because like I said, I think our defense is going to have a hell of a game. So give me it. And I think he gets the bad start. And then my second one, it's time. I'm not sold with this kid at all right now. And if you're even starting him in the first place, move on to something else. But Caleb Williams, that Bears team is just painful right now. He's got more weapons than Justin Fields had, and he just can't get it going yet. So I think if you have him as your starter, if you took a risk on him to draft him low to get more talent, I think you need to get somebody else in there. So I think those are 2 solid stardom situms for the quarterback position.
Definitely.
Going on to my running backs, I'm going to give some praise here. I doubted this guy all offseason because I wasn't going to be sold on the Chargers. But give me JK. Let me see. Yeah.
Caleb's
Give
a
me J.K.
bust.
Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins for my first starting for the running backs. He's currently the running back 4
Love that.
right now. Back-to-back 20-point performances. He is playing a tough Steelers team, but I got faith in Jim Harbaugh to scheme him up. He's been doing just great in that system, and I think he's going to be the lead carrier now. So get me J.K. Dobbins to start. I love it.
I love it.
And my other first stardom with CMC landing on the IR, I'm going to give it to Jordan Mason. He's been impressive every single week. And I think if you guys were able to snag him off the waiver wire, good on you. And they're playing the Rams, which I think they're going to pretty much do what Arizona did to them. And he's just going to have more carries. So I think those are 2 easy stardoms for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, and then this one kind of hurts me, but I think I got to do it anyways. David Montgomery is my first sit-em. I don't like the matchup against Arizona. I think Arizona is playing tremendous on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if they're going to put Detroit into a close game, I think they're going to force feed Jahmyr Gibbs. Pretty much David Montgomery is pretty much worth it for you if he scores. So I'm going to say no. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the start, the more benefit of the doubt. So we'll see. So I'm going to go with that on my first sit-em. And then for the second one, this guy's been running also been running a hot hand a little bit as of late, but I'm not going to keep falling for it. I think the Jets are going to give him a little bit of an awakening. Ramondre Stevenson, I'm going to sit him. I think that Jets defense is too tough. I think they're going to disrupt everything that New England's going to throw at them. And I think Ramondre Stevenson will have maybe less than 12 points this week. So I'm going to give him the sit-em. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Jets lose, but I think, Ramondre Stevenson, there's no way he's been this good. He was so bad last year. I don't think they're doing much different. I think he's been a little lucky lately. So no. I don't like it, especially against that Jets. So going on to my receivers, I'm going to go start them off with my stardoms. Like I said, I got this quarterback getting the bounce back, and I think Jamar Chase finally wakes up. He's currently the wide receiver 40 right now, which is pretty tough. He had 12 points against New England, 7 against Kansas City, going against a Commanders team who are just in shambles on the defensive end. Give me Jamar Chase. Love the start. And, he's got to earn that money somehow. He can't just be – I think if you can buy Jamar Chase right now, you should. So
definitely
go for it. And then my second one with A.J. Brown out, Devontae Smith in. I think that's an instant start. Had 20 points against the Falcons, going up against New England, who are the 23rd ranked defense against wide receivers. Get Devontae Smith in there now while you can, because with A.J. Brown out, I think he'll be the star of that offense.
Okay.
Going to the Cinems. Tried to tell you guys, Armon St. Brown gave him the Cinem last week, and he made up for it, but now he's hurt. I told you, he doesn't look healthy to me. After week 1, I'm like, something doesn't look right about him. And then he has a good game, but then he is questionable right now. He is hurt, and Dan Campbell, I really don't believe what he says all the time. That guy just plays with emotions. And he said he will be good. We'll see, but I'm gonna give St. Brown the stardom.
You mean sit?
Or no, the sit. My bad. I'm gonna give him the sit because I think Arizona's gonna handle Detroit pretty well, and I think Laporta has to get involved this week, and I think they're gonna try to run it more with Jahmyr Gibbs. But like I said, St. Brown, something's not wrong with him. So when I was watching him, he just does not look healthy out there towards the end of the game. So that's just my opinion. But he is the wide receiver 25. Let's see if he proves me wrong. We'll see. But going on to my second one, a lot of people doubted me all offseason. I took Chris Godwin so early in a lot of my leagues, except for ours, and a lot of people were giving me so much shit. But Chris Godwin is the wide receiver 1 through the first 2 weeks, and I'm going to roll that hot hand. Mike Evans is currently the wide receiver 20. Didn't have a good game against Detroit, but did against the Commanders. So going against Denver, who Pat Surtain is just locking up the wide receiver 1 on both in both games so far. I think they'll throw him at Mike Evans because he is their main targeted point of emphasis. So give me another good game for Godwin. Don't know if he'll have as good of a game as he has been having, but I think Mike Evans is going to get clamped up by Surtain, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So, and then tight ends. Oh my God, dude. This might be the worst season we are going to see out of tight ends. This one was actually tough for me. I was like, okay, let's see here. So George Kittle, though, saved my week. So I'm going to give him the stardom because they are now without Debo, and George Kittle has seemed to be Brock's go-to guy when the pressure's getting tough.
Definitely.
So if you got Kittle, keep rolling the hot hand with him. And then,
Trey.
I had a little bit of doubt on this one, but I think Buffalo is going to finally get him involved a little more. I'm shocked he didn't get more involved against Miami, but I think Dalton Kincaid, he's due for his breakout game, and I think he's going to have it against Jacksonville. They're at home. They're on prime time. And Jacksonville, they have only allowed the fourth least points to tight ends, but, I think at some point Sean McDermott has to get him going. So
definitely,
I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I love Kincaid's talent. I'm going to take him for sure. And then my sit-ems, pretty devastating because I have him in my other league, but I think it's time because this dude is just nowhere to be found, and he's been the star of tight ends the last how many years we know of. Travis Kelce, man.
Yeah, he's been bad.
It's bad. It's really bad. He had 1.6 fantasy points on 3 targets. You mean to tell me Mahomes is targeting Kelce 3 times? No, get it out. I'm not doing it. If you can trade Kelce, I probably would, but it's looking bad. So I'm gonna shift away from him. And my second one, for someone who was the tight end, tight end 2 last year, he's nowhere to be found. Again, Evan Ingram. He had no targets, no receptions. He had 1.5 fantasy points. He is still questionable. He's been week to week. Doug Peterson, I got my update right here. So I think there was optimism that he's going to play, especially on a longer week. But Jacksonville looks completely out of sorts right now. And Trevor Lawrence is not even making compatible throws at all. So I would think I'm going to sit away from Evan Ingram, even if he does play. So skip that one for sure. But those are my stardom sit-ems. It's a little all over the place, to be honest with you, because everything's unpredictable right now. But my favorite start this week, to be honest with you, is going to be J.K. Dobbins, because
love that
Jim Harbaugh is utilizing the fuck out of him like they were in Baltimore. And, I think if they play their cards right, he's going to be a top 10 running back in fantasy. So I will take some questions now. I see I have a lot of people asking me questions. So you guys can throw them at me.
Let's start with this one. Just traded away ETN and Shaheed for Kamara. Is this good?
I would, yeah. I think Shaheed, you got to sell now while you can, because Olave is still there. And when they start adjusting more on that, I think Olave is going to get some more targets. Kamara is always going to be that guy. If you got Derek Carr at the helm, Derek Carr loves the check downs, and especially if you're in PPR leagues, I love that trade. ETN hasn't been promising at all, and I would have took Kamara over ETN anyway. So that's a good trade. I love it.
And then we got another one, Captain
Joe King.
Huge fan of the show already. Sub. Just sold Flowers and Worthy for Bowers. I know, pretty bold, but I feel like he's a 2023 Laporta. Opinions on that?
I mean, yeah, if you have Kyle Pitts, I would definitely go for that. I'm a little concerned about the Ravens, so I'm not tripping about getting rid of Zay Flowers. And I kind of told you at the beginning of the season, no, I'm not sold on Flowers anyways. Worthy, though, that could come back to haunt you, because I feel like the Rashee Rice situation is still not fully resolved. I feel like at any point at this season, the league can hand down a suspension, because they said they are waiting for that to be finished. So we'll see. But I don't think it's a killer, but I think it's getting Brock Bowers is huge. So far he's been a good target over there in the Vegas.
Yeah, and I mean, he looked great last week too. You got next question here from Nando: JSN or Michael Pittman? Easy,
Pittman,
right?
Pittman has been worthless, dude, and he's my receiver as well. He is getting the most targets, but he can't get involved at it. If you can go get Alec Pierce, who Richardson keeps finding in the end zone, I would go pick him up. But I'm starting JSN for sure.
JSN, 12 catches for 117 yards on 16 fucking targets last week. And he is going to play against everybody besides Jalen Ramsey. Go take JSN over Pittman. Easy.
Yeah, because Ramsey will be on
DK for
DK,
sure.
so I would go JSN for sure.
Next question from Marcus. Appreciate you guys commenting, by the way. Please hit that thumbs up button to support the show. Is Waddle still a starter? I actually have this question myself for you, Jacoby. Is Waddle still a starter for week 3, or should I bench him for Brian Thomas, who actually has shown flashes, even though the Jags offense looks a little shaky?
That's tough because they're Waddle doesn't have his starting quarterback, and Thomas is going against a really good Buffalo defense. So, I'm going to say Waddle because there's still a chance this team's going to be down and probably having to pass more if they want to. But I'm going to take the safer choice. I'm just going to say Waddle. It's still like a little bit shot in the dark. We're going to see what happens this week. But I don't like Brian Thomas going into a primetime game in Buffalo. So, and with how bad Trevor Lawrence has looked, I know it can't be worse than Skylar Thompson. So that's a tough one, dude. That's a real tough one. But I think Waddle has more chances for passes because even though I predicted them to win, there's still a chance this team can get blown out. So if that happens, they'll be throwing all game. So I'll take that upside more.
And you know what, Marcus, appreciate you again for chiming in. Waddle, I mean, you took Waddle in the 4th or 5th round, man. I mean, don't give up just yet, even though I know the Tua situation is probably scary as far as his numbers go. But he knows Skylar Thompson. He's played with Skylar Thompson. He has reps. He's played a playoff game with Skylar Thompson, who has even threw his way a lot of times. So kind of see how it goes. And you picked Waddle way too high to start benching him. You got to see how it goes, even though this whole NFL season has been weird. And it's only been 2 weeks. It's only been 2 weeks. Next question comes from HD. Would you guys trade Devontae Smith and Ramondre for Olave, JSN, and Brian Robinson in a full PPR? Wow, that's a blockbuster. What do you think?
Jeez. Wow. How down bad is your team?
Jeez.
Do you need the depth? I mean, I can't really answer that without seeing your team, but AJ Brown's going to be back eventually, and I think Olave is going to take off soon, and JSN's going to be that guy. I'd do that. You're getting 3 for 2. Yeah, I'd go for it. If you want my honest opinion, sure, I'd do that for sure.
Yeah, I definitely would do that. I think Ramondre probably has one more good game in him, and then you're going to see him plummet. And the reason I say that is because the Jets' defensive line, if there's anything that you could do against the Jets, is probably run the ball. And they also have a injury to Jermaine Johnson in the front line. Haven't figured out that Hassan Reddick situation. I think Ramondre has one solid game left. So if you are thinking about doing this trade, do it this freaking week. I would absolutely pull the trigger on that. He says it's an 8-man league. My wide receivers are Amon-Ra, Nico, Waddle, Devonta Smith. Then
I'd go for it.
Yeah, man.
Do it. In an 8-man league, if you can get more depth and especially guys that are getting volume, I would do it.
Yeah, and especially even now, so with Tua going down, and we just talked about it earlier, Waddle's touches might be a little shaky. Nico's the man, but if you can add those other guys to it, I would definitely pull the trigger on that. Nando says, what about J.K. Dobbins or JSN for the flex spot? Now, this is we talked about both of these guys, and we think both of these guys are in for some good games, but I'm assuming you're going to go with J.K. on this, right, Jacoby?
Yeah, I'm going to go J.K. I mean, I've just loved how involved he's been in with the offense so far, and especially, they're playing a tougher defense. I think he can get involved with the passing game too, especially if you're in a PPR league. So, and a part of me doesn't want to jinx JSN having a good game. So, so I'm going JK. JK is my favorite start this week. So I'm going to stay on that one.
HD, do we really need to answer this? I'm sorry, but come on, man. Come on, man. This is absolutely Dobbins over Brian Robinson. This is a no-brainer. Dobbins has been balling. Jacoby has mentioned his name 37 times already in the last 20 minutes. Go get yourself J.K. Dobbins if you can, man. The dude is going to keep balling with hardball.
Get him because I can't get him.
Yeah, definitely. You're lucky that somebody's even willing to give you that. He's letting you choose. Come on, HD. Get out of the stream. I'll excuse you. Go make that trade, my man. Listen, everybody, thank you once again for tuning in to the stream. Me and Jacoby will be back next week. Same time. Tell a friend to subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We both picked the Dolphins to win. Jacoby is going to the game in Seattle. Wish him luck. We will see you guys next week. Jacoby, before you head out to Seattle, any last words?
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel a little better. I got a lot off my chest today, and I'm ready to just move on. I'm gonna stay off Twitter for a little bit. I don't want to see the injury report tomorrow at all. So I'm just going to stay the course, enjoy the rest of my week, and just have a good trip. So that's all I'm gonna do.
Listen, safe travels and go Dolphins, Jacoby.
Let's do it.